we represent our organisation in a public venue, delivering a talk, there are two brands on display. Our company's brand, well, because everyone will make a judgment about the entire organisation based on what they see us do. The second brand is our personal brand. How professional we are. If we are ever in a position to give a public presentation, we need to be very conscious. We need to be doing a proper job because we can damage both brands and do it so easily. Intellectually, most people get this, but the reality is that every day someone is burning their organisation and personal brands through sheer, unadulterated incompetence. Welcome back to this weekly edition every Tuesday of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story. I'm the president of Dale Carnegie Training here in Japan. And I'm also the best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery. We are bringing the show to you from our High Performance Center here in Akasaka, in Minato-ku, the business center of Tokyo. Why the cutting edge? In this show, we are looking at the critical areas for success in business in Japan. We want to help advance everyone's thinking so that we can all be at the forefront, the cutting edge of how to flourish here in this market. Before we get into this week's topic, here is what caught my attention lately. To attract more 20s and 30s consumers, the 140-year-old Shiseido brand is overhauling its entire makeup lineup and discontinuing 100 products. These are being replaced with a new collection using bolder colours and matte cosmetics. The Shiseido president, Masahiko Uotani, says, "What's important is we recruit new users to the Shiseido brand. We can now get into this new segment of younger consumers who are going to become long-term users for us." The idea is to use the newly launched cosmetics lineup as a way to hook younger consumers into using Shiseido and branded items for their entire lives. Shiseido wants to grow its makeup revenues from the current 10% share to 30%. These new products will be rolled out in 88 markets globally. President Uotani is a very prominent Dale Carnegie graduate. So we wish him good luck with this bold redirection. In other news, although Japanese car makers have established a dominant global position in terms of the number of cars sold, their foothold is being eroded by German automotive part producers such as Bosch and Continental. They are starting to overwhelm the Japanese auto industry in the field of autonomous driving, and especially the technology that goes with that. The Japanese makers are seeing their young engineers leave their companies. They are electronics engineers specializing in semiconductors, sensors, and designing electronic circuits. They are moving to the German companies because they want to work on state-of-the-art technology for self-driving cars. Japanese makers have dramatically increased their own purchases of components from the German manufacturers and suppliers of advanced driver-assisted systems. To make it worse, Google and Apple are also spending 1 trillion yen each year on R&D for autonomous driving. In some defensive moves, Toyota and its key auto parts suppliers are looking at jointly developing autonomous driving technology. Denso, Aisin, Seiki, Jekte Corp and Advisors, a subsidiary of Aisin, say they are planning to set up a joint venture next March. In particular, they are going to work on sensors, brakes and steering. This whole industry is going to be challenging in the future for Japan to maintain its dominance. Denso President Koji Arima said the race is not about win or lose, but live or die. Toyota has also invested $500 million in Uber to jointly work on developing self-driving cars. Finally, ZMP Inc., a Tokyo-based developer of autonomous driving technology, has joined up with Hinomaru Kotsu, the taxi company here, to launch the world's first taxi services to fare-paying passengers in tests between Otemachi and Roppongi. They are planning to launch a full service in 2020 for the Olympics. This is episode number 47, and we are talking about how to incinerate your brand. それでは行きましょう. So, let's get going. Seriously sad, really. Our speaker had some excellent points to convey, but due to silly, basic errors, killed his organization's messages. I believe there is no excuse for this anymore. Today, there is so much information available, so many role models, so much video instruction, so much access to insights, so much training. You really have to wonder how some organizations can do such a poor job. The impressive thing was our speaker was delivering the talk in English when that was not his native language. Actually, the level of English fluency was very, very highly impressive. The speaking speed was good. The English pronunciation was fine. The speaking voice itself was clear. He came with a grand resume, part of the elite of the land, a seriously well-educated, very senior guy. This was game, set, and match to be a triumph of positive messaging and salesmanship. It was a fizzer. I thought, what a waste. So I approached him after it was all over. Being the eternal Aussie optimist from the land of vast horizons, blue skies and wonderful sunshine, I thought our speaker would benefit from a bit of friendly, positive feedback on the way he could help his organization to do better. His body language screamed out that he wasn't buying any of that and asked me for one example. Clearly, he believed his talk went down a treat with the crowd. A group, by the way, full of long-term Japanophiles and enthusiastic boosters for things Japanese. He was, in fact, preaching to the choir in audience terms, but his messaging went astray. I asked him for the first slide to be brought back. A confusing coat of many colours, seriously dense with data, totally impervious to easy understanding, a florid, turbulent, roiling mess, in other words. The other slides were all like this. The heavy data volume on one slide was simply killing the key messages. When I suggested these slides were perhaps attempting to put a bit too much on the screen and at the one time, he said I was looking at the cleaned up version. He had taken the organization's standard slide deck and pared it back. Pared it back, I thought incredulously. Well, it was still simply ridiculous. The other issue was the delivery. Our speaker chose to stand in front of the monitor and read to us what was on the screen, while having his back to us for most of the whole presentation. Fortunately, he was handsome, urbane, charming, international, and articulate. He had all the natural advantages to carry the room to his way of thinking. Unfortunately, he failed completely. What could our erstwhile hero have done? He made the slide deck the centerpiece of the whole presentation instead of making his messages the key points. We should all take note and carefully cull our ideas and distill them down to only the most powerful and important. We should present only one idea per slide. Restrict the colour palette to 2 colours for contrast and try to keep it Zen-like simple. If our audience cannot grasp the key point of any slide in 2 seconds, then it needs more pairing. Find out more when we come back from the break. If you want to become a fully competent and confident presenter, then do the High Impact Presentations course. We are all being judged when we speak, be it in the internal team meeting or in a public environment, be it the big bosses, clients, or an industry audience. Everyone is evaluating us. Don't blow it. Get the best training on the planet. Do the High Impact Presentations course now in either Japanese or English. The bestseller, Japan Sales Mastery, is the new Bible of selling in Japan. To sell to Japanese buyers, you need to create long-term partner-level trust, fully understand Japanese buyers' real needs, convince buyers with your solutions, overcome their hesitation, fear, and doubt, know how to ask for the order, ensure repeat orders. This book is the product of 30 plus years in the trenches selling in Japan. Order Japan Sales Mastery now. Welcome back. Graphs are great visual prompts during presentations, and the temptation is to use them as unassailable evidence. This usually means trying to pack the graph with as much information as possible, showing long periods of comparison and multiple data points for edification. Instead, think of them like screen wallpaper. They form a visual background. We can then go to another slide showing the turning point in isolation, reducing all the noise on the slide so that our eyes can focus on the key data. Also, we can have a pop-up cover the background data with a special key number, emphasized in very large font. In this way, we can cut through all the clutter and draw out the critical proof we want our audience to buy. Trying to pack it all on one screen is a formula for persuasion suicide because we lose our audience. We need to learn some very basic logistics about presenting. Despite how the organisers have set up the space, move things around, if possible, to give yourself the best shot to present as a professional. Try to stand on the audience left of the screen. We read from left to right, so we want them to look at our face first and then read the screen. We want to face our audience, and if anyone drops the lights so your screen is easier to see, stop everything and ask for the lights to be brought back up. We need the lights on in order that we can see our audience's faces. We can then gauge if they are with us or resisting our messages. They can see us, and we can use our gestures, facial expressions, and body language to back up the words we are saying. Changing the layout of the slides and the delivery would have made the speaker's messages clearer and more attractive. None of the things I have suggested to him are complex or difficult. Why then are we still assailed with unprofessional presentations from smart people? He remained resistant. So I saw him riding off into the sunset on his quixotic quest to convert others to his organisation's point of view. Good luck with that one, buddy. Action steps. 1, make yourself, not the slides, the centerpiece of your presentation. 2, don't bombard your audience with a visual, multicolored extravaganza. Go for Zen when designing your slide deck. 3, don't put too many graphs on one slide. 2 at most is a good rule. 4, try to position yourself facing your audience to the audience left of the screen. And 5, keep the lights up so you can see and be seen. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show is here to help you succeed in Japan. Subscribe on YouTube. Share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Become a regular. Thank you for watching this episode, and remember to hit the subscribe button. Our website details are on screen now. enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. Awesome value there, so check it out. In episode number 48, we are talking about key things not to do when negotiating. Find out more about that next week. So, yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. Please join me for the next episode of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. We are here to help you, and we have only one direction in mind for you and your business, and that is up.